Well, welcome back everybody, and this is not a weekly update video. This is not week 4. I had some really good success this past week. Tuesday night, the 24th, I shot Gummy. So Gummy was the #1 probably target buck this year. Not saying he was the #1 necessarily biggest racked buck, but definitely a buck that Amy and I both wanted to get in front of us during the archery season, and we both thought it was going to be probably a challenging hunt to make that happen. He's been around our farm. I want to say he's 7 or 8 years old, and only one time in that 7 or 8 years did we have him during archery season close enough to actually get a shot, and that was last year. Amy had him at like 10 yards, but her tag was filled already. So to say that I'm excited and pumped up that I got a shot at him Tuesday night and got him is probably an understatement. But I just kind of want to lay out here the hunt and what happened. And before I really get into it, I just wanted to say that this channel, my intention with this channel is to be kind of an educational channel. And it's not that I know everything. This is just me trying to help other hunters through my experiences of what has worked for me in the past, what hasn't worked for me, what has failed, and what has succeeded. So I do my best to make the video content as clear and in focus and everything as I can, but you'll see when we get into this hunt, Tuesday night it was misting out and really windy, which is, for me, it's perfect hunting conditions, but the camera, the quality of the video of the shot and stuff is not very good at all. And I didn't get any B-roll, I didn't get any before the shot type of footage because it was raining out, and I didn't want to ruin my camera. So I could go back and fake all that stuff and do a fake walk-in and do some B-roll and pan the area, and I'm just not going to do that. So I'm not going to fake B-roll just to make a better video of it. But I do have a couple minutes of him grunting and coming in, and I do have the shot, but like I said, the video quality isn't the greatest. So like I said, Gummy's been around for a while, and I remember the first time that I saw this buck was in a tree very close to where I killed him Tuesday night, probably like 20 yards away. And I saw him at about 300 yards on cut corn on a bed to feed pattern, and he was bedded right behind the house. But the thing with Gummy is he never stayed here, and that's going to be common. So we have 80 acres here, and I think there's 20 acres that's not tillable, and out of that 20 acres there's maybe 15 acres of anything that you would consider deer habitat, because we have the house and stuff up here. But so back in 2016 when we bought this property, the primary goal with it really was the income off that 60 acres of tillable ground. But Amy and I decided we're just going to spend as much time, and really not a lot of money, but just time making the habitat, so the 15, 16 acres of bottom ground and ditches and draws that we have here, the best holding power that it could possibly be. And you're never going to hold all the deer on your property all the time, not with 16 acres. That's not going to happen. But we wanted to make it the best that we could make it, so that that would be the highest potential that that 16 acres would have. And then we hunt this property the best possible way we can to put the least amount of pressure on it, so that these bigger bucks feel secure coming here, staying for 2-3 days, maybe a bed to feed pattern for a couple, 2-3 days. During the gun season, they'll come in here and hang out so that we can protect them and hunt them year after year. And we have some success. It's not the greatest, but for the limited amount of acres we have, we do pretty good. So last year, Amy had that encounter with Gummy during the rut, during archery season. I had several encounters with him during the late muzzleloader season in the end of December and early January. And I actually passed him up a couple times, again, right behind the house. But I also put in several observation sits where I didn't hunt, but I just wanted to observe, because once I saw this buck, I decided, and passed him, I decided, you know what, I'm going to let him go just so that I can hunt him next year and just see if I can put a plan together to take this buck. Because he never really was a target buck. Not that he wasn't big, not that he wasn't mature. That's not the point. But he just never was really high on the radar until this year. So last year, late muzzleloader, I kind of figured I had him pegged where he liked to do a lot of his bedding, which was not on our farm. But he would frequent our farm and he would bet on our farm when kind of two things would happen. First, when his prime food source was on our farm, that became attractive to him. And then the second thing, like other bucks, he found our farm the most attractive when the other areas that he frequented a lot got other hunting pressure from other hunters. Or, in the case of this year, which I'm going to get into, when there was other human pressure like farming. So basically the combine getting fired up and grain carts going in and out and semis and stuff like that, right around his core area, he would leave for like a week and then come back. At least that was my suspicion. Because we would always pick him up on game cameras and have a sighting or two behind the house, but then it would go away. And I think what would happen is he would come and spend more time on our farm and then go back and leave when the hunting pressure went down, or really the farm pressure went down, where he was more comfortable. Earlier this summer, I actually thought Gummy might have died of EHD. I found a big 10-pointer in a pond right to the east of my house here, and I called the landowner and I said, hey, can I go look at that deer? And not a problem. But I'll put a link to that YouTube short video in this video, and you can go look at that. Real similar to Gummy, nice big wide frame 10-pointer, so I thought, well, maybe that's him. But we started getting pictures of him again in early fall, just one here and there. It's not a lot because he didn't frequent our farm a lot. So then that's when the kind of kicked in the overdrive that, okay, I'm going to try and target this buck. I think that's an important point that I want to make. I was talking to a friend of mine about mature bucks on a bed to feed pattern. And there's this thought process out there that when bucks get to be 4, 5, and 6, and 7, that their home range kind of shrinks, or their prime bedding area kind of shrinks. And I can't argue that might not be true. In fact, it probably is true. I don't think their overall home range goes down, but it seems like they get really comfortable in a certain pocket of bedding cover that they'll stay there. But I really think there's exceptions to that, and one is human intrusion, whether that's combining or hunting pressure or a food source changes. So if they're bedding in a certain spot and they're going out to this alfalfa field, let's say every single day, and all of a sudden, for whatever reason, deer are selective eaters, they don't want that alfalfa anymore. They want cut corn, but that cut corn is maybe a half mile this direction. I think they'll move that prime bedding closer to that cut corn, because I see it right here behind the house. When they're on our combine corn, which a lot of deer move in once it's combined, you'll pick up a handful of doe and fawn groups sometimes, and you'll pick up a mature buck or two, or even a couple 2-year-olds or 3-year-olds that weren't there. They weren't there in September, October, and all of a sudden it's the end of October and the corn gets cut, and they're there and they're on a bed to feed pattern right in this little 15 acres. So that's kind of what I was hoping for, just to kind of set the stage here for Tuesday night. Sunday and Monday, the combines all to the west of us here were going nuts. There was a couple combines, semi-trucks hauling grain carts, doors slamming, people talking, and I think that any deer that was in that area got pushed out. They're not going to tolerate that. And they'll come right back from that farm type intrusion, but not maybe 4 or 5 days a week. So Tuesday night, when I had a good wind to go behind the house, I thought, well, there's a good chance that if Gummy's going to come on our property on a bed to feed type pattern, that might be one of the times he does it, because I've seen it in the past where he'll do the same thing when there's a corn harvest or a bean harvest or something like that going on. Is all of a sudden, boom, you'll see him for a week and then he'll go back. So Tuesday night I got in. It was misting out, raining out. I got set up, and it was also 75 degrees, 70 degrees, warm. But I kept the camera covered up as much as I can. I saw a couple does and fawns early. I got a little bit of footage of those. Put my jacket on top of the camera again. And then I want to say about a half an hour before quitting time, I heard a couple grunts. And I'll just let the video, let's just play the video of that hunt with Gummy. And if I have to, I'll narrate over that a little bit.
See that little doe just takes off. It might even been a fawn. And now here he comes. He's headed right to the ditch crossing. So I want to stop this frame just to go over 2 points. The first is I think you're always better off to stop a deer like this. That's why I did the old meh, meh, to stop them. The second is I always tell people to aim low, and I always aim low. However, when a deer is this close, this deer is at 20 yards, and when they're this close and at my arrow speed, so I'm shooting about 340, maybe 345 feet per second, I don't have to aim low because this deer can't physically hear the sound of the arrow and drop fast enough to make a bad hit. In other words, jump my string. This deer was a little farther, I'd be aiming low, but not under this scenario. To me, the shot looked perfect. And the best I could do is get the camera up and on him like this. Then what I do is I'm actually like crouching down. Once I get the camera on here, I think it settles out. And I can see him a lot better with my binoculars. So I think the shot's perfect. But the strategy here is because I didn't see him go down, I'm just going to wait till it's pitch black and get out and go look for him the next day.
So I got home here about a half an hour ago after shooting Gummy, and I immediately looked at the footage. The problem is I'm zoomed out a little bit too far, and I'm losing light pretty quick. It was so cloudy and raining. In fact, tonight I heard Gummy grunting at a doe, or he was chasing a doe and grunting, and my camera was actually off and was covered because it was raining. So I had to uncover it, hurry up, turn it on, try and focus at about 25 yards. So there was a bunch of stuff going on there. But the shot wasn't hurried, and I watched it now 30, 40 times, and the best I can tell is height-wise, it's maybe, like this low from where I would, from like a perfect shot, and maybe this far back from a perfect shot. And he runs off, but he does the mule kick, runs off, and the problem is that's all I ever have really is kind of his hindquarters. Then he walks away on video. What you can't see is, so I shot sitting and the camera's about right here, like 2 feet away. And while the camera was filming him, I was actually able to get down a step on the ladder stand and watch with my binoculars to the side. And at one point I did see him turn, and I got the entrance hole, and again it looked really good. And then I want to say about 3 minutes after the shot, they're about 3 minutes after the shot, he kind of went behind some stuff for me, but I thought I saw him lay down. But what's troubling to me is he didn't like fall over. He just actually like bedded down. But I've seen this before because I always aim low, and with like a low lung or low heart shot, even though he's probably dead right now, it's not like they just tip over and die in the first minute. My guess is it probably took him 10 minutes. So I waited until it was pitch black, got out of there, and I'm just going to let him go overnight. There's no reason. I saw where he went. There was like a big black walnut with a bunch of branches coming. He went right behind that eventually, where he went down, laid down, and there should be no reason why he's not right there tomorrow morning. So that was the target buck. We'll see what happens. It's the first time this year I specifically went after him. After all the intelligence I got on him over the past few years, I was fairly comfortable with where he was bedding. And we got a heavy wind tonight. I was able to sneak in there under those heavy winds. And I think I got him. So we'll see what happens. Another It'll be a sleepless night because I'm pretty confident of the shot, but yet I haven't walked up on him yet. So we'll see what happens. We'll watch it one more time for the 10th, for the 31st time. Well, here we are the next day, next morning. It just didn't get bright very early this morning. It's full cloud. It's misting again, kind of raining, so I don't know how much of this I'm going to film. But what I did is, the stand is actually on that side of the ditch. But he ran right toward the ditch, and it was a lot easier to bring the Ranger in to where I'm standing right now. So I'm going to look for blood and look for the deer as I go in, because if he crossed the ditch, it would only be like another 40 yards, 50 yards from where I last saw him last night. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, let's go. Let's just see what happens. So I'll just kind of show you here. I'm just walking down a trail. I got switchgrass, and then that ditch is on that side. And then that stand is way back over there. So let's see what happens. I wouldn't suspect he would be this far over here. If anything, he went back that way, but I just kind of look on both sides of the ditch here. I haven't been over here since when I put fall food plots in, but the switchgrass is looking good. We've been watching deer, as long as I'm here, all through this whole bottom. After the corn got cut, Amy and I have been watching deer. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, once I get to the stand, I'm going to put the camera away. I can't film and track at the same time. I'll just show you the ditch a little bit here. So I suspect he's on the other side of the ditch, but I don't know. I'm just going to kind of get up to where I saw him last. Make sure there's no blood here. Whoa. Oh, you gotta love it when it's easy. There we go. There we go. Oh yeah, there we go. Well, he did. He did make it to this side of the ditch. So he must have just crossed and got up over on this side. But that's gummy. I'm gonna have to go back and look. 7 or 8 years old. And let's look at that shot. That shot, it's not that bad. You see where it is here? That's not that bad. You just back out. It is a little bit far back. But oh, it came out way over here. Okay, so it went like this. So instead of going in, it kind of went like this. Instead of going straight in, which would have put him down right away, it probably just caught one lung. But holy cow. Oh man. It was a warm night. Last night it was probably 70 when I got into the stand. I was hunting in a t-shirt, and it's warm this morning, so I'm gonna go get the tractor and the bucket and bring it right over here and get going on this deer. So we'll come back and I'll tell you the story of Gummy. Last night I got out to chase probably my top buck for this year, Gummy. I think he's 8 years old. I don't want to exaggerate it. He might be 7. I'll go back and look and check later. But I didn't know if we were going to get a chance at him bow hunting this year. Amy had one encounter with him last year. She could have killed him, but she already had her tag full. Otherwise, for archery season, he just does not spend a lot of time on our property. But what happened yesterday is where he spends a lot of his time
they were combining soybeans, and the grain carts were going in and out, and the semis were going in and out, and I thought, if there's a chance he's going to get up and move, maybe get a little bit of pressure on him, get a little anxiety and get out of there, maybe come on ours, which he does spend some time on ours. Yesterday would have been the day, and he did. So, big bodied deer, just, I don't know what he's going to end up going, but I need to get him gutted out now and taken care of, but yeah, what an incredible hunt. The shot was, I think, pretty good. I mean, I could have probably put it in like maybe in here a little bit, but it ended up going straight down. But still, extremely happy. Amy just called from Wisconsin. She's back in Wisconsin today. Her mom is having surgery. She said, do I need to go back to Wisconsin for you to kill a deer every time? Because that's kind of, it seems like that's what happened, is every time she takes a little mini vacation or goes somewhere and I go hunting, that's when I get my deer. So we'll see what happens the rest of the season, but so far we're off to a good start with Gummy on the ground.
I hope you liked the video. Again, I apologize for the video quality. But when I started up this YouTube channel, I did not want to get into the same kind of scenario for myself that I was in about 20 years ago when I actually used to produce some hunting videos, and I didn't enjoy it at all. It was nothing about the people that were around me or the people who I did it for. I just didn't enjoy it. I'm a hunter, and I love hunting, and that's my passion. I love chasing whitetails. And when I bring the video camera in the woods with me and put it on a tree pod or a tripod and a blind or something, that's something second. So if I can't even get the video camera out and get a good video because I'm going to spook a deer or I'm not going to get off a shot, I'm okay with that. I have no desire to be like a YouTube star and have perfect footage and stuff. So I apologize that the footage isn't the best. But I'll do my best to lay down footage as I can. But I wanted to wrap this up a little bit going forward. So there's this buck I call Picket that I'm still on the fence on whether or not it's the buck that I wanted to find from last year. A big part of me is saying it's not. So that kind of makes the decision not to shoot that buck if he comes in range an easier one for me, because not just because I have a deer killed already, but because I just kind of want to, I don't want my season to end. The last thing I want is to go out hunting tomorrow and have Pickett come in and then shoot him and then be done. And some of you might be thinking, well, wow, that's kind of arrogant to say something like that. But my goal is not to fill my tags. My goal is not, well, I just want to shoot 2 big bucks and then be done. I want the season to last. I wait all year for this. So the last thing I want, if someone gave me a choice and said, Tom, you can hunt 1 day a year and kill a 200-inch buck, or you can hunt the entire season and whatever you're going to get, whatever you're going to get. 30 years ago, I would have taken option 1. I would have said, yeah, give me 1 day, I'll kill a 200-inch buck. I mean, who's not gonna say that? Today, given that same option, I wouldn't take option 1. Of course, I'd love to shoot a 200-inch buck, but I'm not going to take that option over being able to hunt the entire season. So going forward, I'm going to be real picky about what I necessarily shoot, because I want the season to last. And my strategy now I'll actually try to lay down some good footage. I'll try and get some video of some bucks for you guys the best I can. Probably do a lot of observation sits for Amy and get ready for Lily's late muzzleloader hunt. So it'll be a fun 4 or 5 weeks coming up here, because I just want it to last. So that'll be kind of my goal moving forward. And a couple days here, we got the week 4 or week 3. No, it'll be the week 4 update coming up. So thanks for joining me.